1 week.
Oh, the rid is gone.
The rid is gone? Well, I just saw it. No, it's in my turn.
Look at this. Flowers like that. Garlic here. I think it's verse 39 and 40 that we... You know that? I think it's verse 39-40. There's two verses put together.
Yeah, I read two. Anyway.
Is this today?
Right, the other one was 2 verses.
Yeah, because I read that.
Right.
I did two. I did actually 3 verses.
One single and one double.
Right? Yes. Yes.
I forgot.
Chapter 25.
Which one did you prepare for?
I think the next one, 41. Let's see. Doesn't matter.
Let's check out what's going on.
Chapter 25. 38. The 39 and 40 are 2 verses. And that's not what's written on the board here.
No, it's the next one.
Oh, good. You just didn't change the number, right? Okay, I studied for 41. So the number is wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Verse
The number is wrong. That's the only thing that's
41.
wrong.
That's,
Oh, great.
okay. Whew. You can play. Unless Monica play, because your hands.
I think Dharmasetu Guru less flavor. Yeah, I like it.
I don't know how to play Madonna. I still like it. What do you call that? Insanity?
I think it's nice. Yeah.
Only about 4 beats. Rasananda taught me about 4 beats.
All you need, go back together.
1982 or something. Harinam, just in case you couldn't play the beat. That's all I've learned. Shows. Radhe. Hare Krishna. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjano. Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjano. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanacharya Jamunatira Vanacharya Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Radha Madhava ki Sri Radha Giridhari ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Karantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Gaur Premanandi Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribrajika Jaja Shuddha Sisi Mad His Divine Grace Savai Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribrajika Jaja Shuddha Sisi Mad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Karantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Samveda Bhakti Vrinda ki Jai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Remember when you were in school and you ever wanted to leave the classroom, you had to get a pass from the teacher? You go down the hall, if you didn't have that pass and some other teacher, guidance counselor caught you, you'd be in hot water. I wonder if we should have that for the devotees here. It's like, where's Santosh and Janaran? Do they have a pass? Do they have a pass for not being in class? Because I think Mahabharat's cooking breakfast, and Leela Shakti's cooking lunch. So all your meals are covered. So, could you open this door here? Let a little air, and maybe someone will walk in. We have a little more than that. Open door policy here. You never know who can walk on by. Come on in. Come on in. Like that. So this morning, oh my goodness. Starting to feel like Bilbamangal Thakur. Can't see anything. Get my reading glasses. Yeah, I didn't bring it. I spaced out. So this is a beautiful verse, a beautiful chapter from the beautiful Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verse 41. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskricham Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiriyat Pariki Jai. So text 41. Nanyatra mad bhagavata bhagavata pradhana puruseshvarat atmana sarvabhutanam bhayam tivram nivartate nanyatra mad bhagavata Pradhana Purushe Varat.
Pradhana Purusheshvarat.
Okay. Atmana Sarvabhutanam.
Atmana Sarvabhutanam.
Bhayam Tivram Nivartate.
Bhayam Tirvam Nivartate.
Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata.
Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata.
Pradhana Purushe Varat.
Pradhana Purusheshvarat.
Atmana Sarvabhutanam.
Atmana Sarvabhutanam.
Bhayam Tivram Nivartate.
Bhayam Tirvam Nivartate.
Nanyatra bhagavata
Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata.
pradhana purusheshvarat
Prana Puruseshvarat.
atmana sarvabhutanam
Atmana Sarvabhutanam.
bhayam tivram nivartate.
Bhayam Tivram Nivartate. See, it worked. Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata. Pradhana Purusheshvarat. Atmana Sarvabhutanam. Bhayam Tivram Nivartate. Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata. Pradhana Purusheshvarat. Atmana Sarvabhutanam. Bhayam Tivram Nivartate. Anyone else like to chant? Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata. Pradhana Purusheshvarat. Atmanam Sarvabhutanam. Bhayam Tivram Nivartate. Word for word. Na. Not. Anyatra. Otherwise. Mat. Then myself. Bhagavataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Pradhana Purusha Ishwarat.
Pradhana Purusha Ishvarat.
The Lord of both Prakriti and Purusha.
The Lord of both Prakriti and Purusha.
Atmanaha.
Atmana.
The soul. Sarvabhutanam.
Sarvabhutanam.
Of all living beings.
All living beings.
Bhayam. Fear.
Fear.
Tivram.
Tivram.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Nivartate.
Nivartate.
Is forsaken.
Forsaken.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The terrible fear of birth and death can never be forsaken by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself, for I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the Supreme Soul of all souls. Please repeat. The terrible fear of birth and death
The terrible fear of birth and
can never be forsaken by anyone
should never be forsaken by anyone
who resorts to any shelter other than myself.
who resorts to any shelter other than myself.
For I am the Almighty Lord,
For I am the Almighty Lord,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Supreme Personality of God,
the original source of all creation,
the original source of all creation,
and also the Supreme Soul of all souls.
also the Supreme Soul of all souls.
Purport. It is indicated herein that the cycle of birth and death cannot be stopped unless one is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. It is said, Harim bina na sritim taranti. One cannot surpass the cycle of birth and death unless one is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The same concept is confirmed herewith. One may take to the system of understanding the absolute truth by one's own imperfect sensory speculation, or one may try to realize the self by the mystic yoga process. But whatever one may do, unless he comes to the point of surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no process can give him liberation. One may ask if this means that those who are undergoing so much penance and austerity by strictly following the rules and regulations are endeavoring in vain. Anyone want to ask that question?
Yes.
Okay, so it's because it says you can ask this question. The answer is given by srimadbhagavatam, 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 32nd verse. This is spoken by Lord Brahma. Ye nye ramindaksha vimukti manina. Lord Brahma and other demigods prayed to the Lord when Krishna was in the womb of Devaki. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, there are persons who are puffed up with the thought that they have become liberated or one with God or have become God, but in spite of thinking in such a puffed up way, their intelligence is not laudable. They are less intelligent. It is stated that their intelligence, whether high or low, is not even purified. In purified intelligence, a living entity cannot think otherwise than to surrender. Bhagavad Gita therefore confirms that purified intelligence arises in the person of a very wise man. Bahunam janman ante jnanavanma prapadjante. After many, many births, one who is actually advanced in intelligence surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Without the surrendering process, one cannot achieve liberation. The Bhagavatam says, those who are simply puffed up, thinking themselves liberated by some non-devotional process, are not polished or clear in intelligence, for they have not yet surrendered unto you. In spite of executing all kinds of austerities and penances, or even arriving at the brink of spiritual realization and Brahman realization, they think that they are in the effulgence of Brahman, but actually, because they have no transcendental activities, they fall down to the material activities. One should not be satisfied simply by knowing that one is Brahman. He must engage himself in the service of the Supreme Brahman. That is bhakti. The engagement of Brahman should be the service of Para-Brahman. It is said that unless one becomes Brahman, one cannot serve Brahman. The Supreme Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the living entity is also Brahman. Without realization that he is Brahman, spirit, soul, and the eternal servitor of the Lord, if one simply thinks that he is Brahman, his realization is only theoretical. He has to realize and at the same time engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. Then he can exist in the Brahman status, otherwise he falls down. I don't know if it's separate stories or the same story, but someone was explaining years ago, Prabhu was on a train in India, and an Indian gentleman came in and wanted to talk to him. He was telling Prabhupada that he was riding the train, and Lord Jagannath was outside the window following him. So he said, I am seeing Jagannath. And the point that Prabhupada said, now that you've seen Krishna, serve Krishna. That's all Prabhupada said to him. Didn't get into it. He said, oh, you've seen Krishna? Now serve Krishna. So what is the point of thinking I am Brahman, or I am Brahman, or unless you're doing some service? That's the point. So, seeing Krishna means serving Krishna. Being Brahman means engaging in Brahman activities. Otherwise, it's just mental. Okay. The Bhagavatam says that because non-devotees neglect the transcendental loving service of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, their intelligence is not sufficient, and therefore these persons fall down. The living entity must have some activity. If he does not engage in the activity of transcendental service, he must fall down to material activity. As soon as one falls down to material activity, there is no rescue from the cycle of birth and death. It is stated here by Lord Kapila, without my mercy, nanyatra mad bhagavata. The Lord is stated here to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, indicating that he is full of all opulences and is therefore perfectly competent to deliver one from the cycle of birth and death. He is also called Pradhan because he is the Supreme. He is equal to everyone, but to one who surrenders to him, he is especially favorable. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is equal to everyone, samaham sarvabhuteshu. No one is his enemy and no one is his friend, but to one who surrenders unto him, he is especially inclined. By the grace of the Lord, simply by surrendering unto him, one can get out of the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, one may go on in many, many lives and many, many times attempt other processes for liberation. Om Agyan Jimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksulan Minitam Dena Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is very elevated subject matter here, and for the average man in Kali Yuga, the verse and it goes right over their head. Just like this first sentence, the cycle of birth and death cannot be stopped. Now, who's even trying to stop the cycle of birth and death? They don't even believe it can be stopped. So this is a very elevated subject matter here. That even the basic thing of trying to become free from birth and death.
They don't think that there is a cycle.
Right. That's it. It's over. That. So you even have to bump them up to that level of trying to become free from the cycle of birth and death, right? That's why prasadam and holy name is emphasized in our movement, like that. Give them prasadam, give them the holy name over and over and over again, so their intelligence becomes purified enough to start contemplating these things, that you can become free from them. No one likes dying, but they think, oh, that's all there is, like that. That's what there is. You just die. And therefore, their idea of becoming free from death is, I quote Jim Rohn, he said that the purpose of life is to keep death at a reasonable distance as long as you can, a respectable distance as long as you can. In other words, there's no stopping it. And that when it comes, it's over and everything's done. Dust thou art, dust thou shalt return, like that. So they think there's no escaping it. That no one wants to die, but they think, oh, that's just the way it is. That's the way it is, you know. It's unfortunate and people die, but that's life. That's life. What does that mean, that's life? Everyone, death and taxes. There's no avoiding it. Everyone's going to die. So here, there are some people, what is that? Sasreshu? What is that verse? Manushanam sasreshu. Out of millions and millions and countless people, a few may be interested in trying to understand the truth. And of those, Krishna says, hardly one knows me. So we're talking a very elevated subject matter here. And in that realm of the few people who are interested in self-realization, the point is being made by Kapila Dev here that you're not going to get free from the cycle of birth and death. You're not going to get liberated unless you take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there are those who think they're liberated. It's interesting, sometimes you visit these yoga ashrams and different things like that, or people come here, and they actually think they're kind of liberated. I don't know what's going on there. No big thing. Like that, om, om, om. Like that little om on the side, little yoga. Like that, like that. Wear the right kind of clothes, put on some sandalwood oil or patchouli or something like that, and you smell liberated or something. It's like not that easy. Like that. What they're experiencing possibly is a little bit of the mode of goodness, right? That's what it is. Vegetarians and this and that and peaceful, like that. So just that sense of, that's what it says in the Bhagavad Gita, that's the pitfall of mode of goodness. One has a sense of happiness and satisfaction. There's some knowledge there, and one gets a respite from the grinding miseries of ignorance and passion in this material world, and when some or other things, they're liberated. I did a puja at a yoga ashram in Encinitas. It was someone's house. This was a few months ago. I got a phone call, and the yoga instructors, he'd been teaching yoga for 20, 30 years or something. They got an ashram there and one in maybe Hawaii or something like that. He walked by me, kind of this overweight guy with a big belly. They're Westerners, like that. And practically didn't even have to give me the time of day to say, hi, welcome, glad you're here. But his secretary was taking care of everything. They wanted some kind of puja to purify the ashram of students that aren't serious. They kind of leave bad energy there. So that's what they wanted. So I'd make sure they got plenty of prasadam and books, and we had a fire yajna. But the mood there was, we're kind of like liberated. You know, I've been doing this for so long, and we're just all a bunch of liberated people. Like that. So I wish them the best, and like that. But it's not that easy. That's what it is. In the mind. That's the verse by Lord Brahma. There's vimukti manina. Somehow or other in the mind, think liberated. Now, Lord Brahma is speaking of some very elevated personalities that actually even go to the Brahman. That's not an easy thing. They even go to the Brahman, but there's nothing to do, right? If you go someplace and there's nothing to do, you get bored. You want something to do. The soul is by nature active. It's not inactive. So if you don't find some engagement here, you'll look for it there. And therefore they fall back. Patanti ada, means they come back down. They fall back down. Like that. So, I mean, for us, as a very pertinent for us, is if you don't find happiness and engagement in devotional service, you go look for it there.
You're talking about the heavenly planet?
No, I'm talking about out that door, Grand Avenue. That's what I'm talking about. If we don't find, no, Brahman is beyond the heavenly planets. The heavenly, the spiritual light that's in between the planets.
So you're saying there's some that go up there and then fall back down?
Yes, they do. That's exactly what this verse says. Because there's nothing to do. It's kind of like sitting on a park bench. Like that. Not even that, because you can't see any variety. It's like sitting on a park bench with earplugs and a blindfold. Like that. Just after a while, you're bored. So one has to find, you find your home in Om, is that what they say? And then we find our home in Krishna. You have to have some service, some seva. That will save us. That's nice. You have a t-shirt like that. Is there already a t-shirt like that? Your seva will save you? Huh? Yeah, we should. Got that? You can make millions. Forget this Uber. Make the t-shirt. You make millions. He's got. Okay, so I heard it. I think I heard it before there. Someone's got to have it. Say, we'll save you. He's all the one with a Shravanam, Kirtanam, Mapanam, Scrubbanam too. That's one of his old. That's one of his old lines too. As a temple president in St. Louis or wherever he was. The process of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Scrubbanam, Mapanam. Get to work, Prabhu. Like that. So it's true. You have to be happy in our engagements of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we look elsewhere. Like that. There has to be happiness. Yeah. Let's we bring up questions later. Otherwise, I get really distracted. Okay. And it's all because it's this avishuddha buddhya means unclean intelligence. Prabhu says unpolished. Use that word, unpolished, unclear. You're not clear on something. You're mistaking something. That I looked this verse up, and I should have brought my the word for word. It's very nice of this verse by Lord Brahma. He goes into all the details of what it means.
Muktamana, falsely considering themselves free from the bondage of material contamination. The Buddha, whose intelligence is still not purified and who do not know the goal of life. This is probably, it's the second chapter when he wrote it. That other one? The highest position according to their imagination.
Right. So I mean, I guess this is one verse. Prabhupada say, "Don't speculate." Like that. People speculate. We all speculate. We have to hear very, very carefully from the parampara what actually is spiritual life. Like that. As I just reached into the Mahaprasad flower bin there, and I saw, here's an edition of Hinduism Today. Okay. Well, I threw it in the other trash. I opened it up because there's some articles on India and so on. There's a little article there about. Basically, what he was saying was monotheism, the idea that there's one God, is lacking. There's a little short article about how monotheism isn't the answer, and pantheism isn't the answer. But his impersonalism is that is the highest understanding of God. And I'm saying this should not be in a temple, and I just threw it in the other trash. Well, how offensive! And what it means is they have no idea who Krishna is. That's what it is. Krishna's was that. Nahambarkasha sarvasya, what is the one? Mudha. Nabhijanti mam mudha, manusim tanamasutam. They're thinking I'm an ordinary person, maybe a little more powerful. They have no idea who Krishna is. Right? They have no idea. Brahmanoi patishtaham. They have no idea who Krishna is, and therefore they make these statements, the idea of monotheism is so limited, that there's some God or something, gods are gods. And then pantheism is a washout. So the real thing is that we're all God. So into the trash. Into the trash. Speculation, vimukti manina, right? So, bogus. No understanding of Bhagavad Gita. And Hinduism today. Well, that is Hinduism today. It's completely shot. Neo-Hinduism is completely shot. They emphasize impersonalism and polytheism. It's completely shot. It's completely against what Bhagavad Gita is saying. So, unfortunately, Hinduism today is not Vedic culture of yesterday. It's not. Yeah, yeah. It's very, very unfortunate that they're allowed to speak like that. So they don't recognize us. They don't recognize ISKCON. They won't do any articles or any ads or anything from ISKCON in there. They don't. maybe, like that. Save us, like that. So, don't speculate. What does the Bhagavatam say? What does the Bhagavad Gita say? And if you don't accept the Bhagavad Gita, then what's the standing? Hiranya Maharaj brings up the point that back in the 60s or 50s, the government of India, because it was so wish-washy, they were called in to define what a Hindu is. And one of the things they said is a Hindu is a person who accepts the authority of the Vedas. You have to accept the authority of the Vedas. That's the law. You want to be a card-carrying Hindu. So what do the Vedas say? It doesn't say we're all God. It doesn't say all the demigods, all the gods are the same. It says just the opposite. Yeah. So, all bogus stuff. Very, very attractive, though, in the age of Kali. It's very attractive. Like that. But the difficulty is, as Krishna, Lord Kapila is saying here, they won't become free from the cycle of birth and death permanently. They may go up, just like the verse in the Bhagavad Gita about the heavenly planets. You're very, very pious, but Shine punye marcha lokam bashanti. You go to heaven, but you'll come right back down. You'll exhaust so much work to go to the heavenly planets. Impossible in this day and age. Their demigod worship can't even be performed properly. But even if you were to go and live there for thousands and thousands of years, you come right back down. You exhaust your punya. Because when you get there, it's party time. There's no question. Would you like to perform some austerities, Prabhu? Hey, come on. There's a party over at Balaram's. Then the next day, there's a party over at Bhagdazak's. It's just going and going and going. It's like, just wow. I'll get to it some other time. Hey, you want to chant your rounds today, Prabhu? Come on, it's party time. It's just like thousands of years of just partying. It's just so fun. It's just like, it just never ends. So what happens? You come back down. And even you go to the Brahmani effulgence, you come back down. So where does one actually... Liberation means devotional service. That's the whole point of our philosophy. It means devotional service. It doesn't mean anything else. Because how can you be liberated if you're going to fall back down? You're not liberated. You get a little bit of a respite there or something, but you're not liberated. Just like you said, I moved to New York. But you're back in 2 weeks. You didn't really move to New York. You just went there for 2 weeks. You went on a vacation to New York, but you didn't move there, right? So I went back to the spiritual world, but I came back after, I don't know, 1 million years. I don't know how long they buzz up there for, how long it takes to get tired of it. But you didn't move there. You came back. Like that. I came back. So that's the point. You'll always come back unless you take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna says that over and over again, of course, throughout the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. There's Bahunam, Janmanam ante Jnanamama Papajante, Vasudevam Sarmiti, Samahatma Sadulabha. Who's the great soul? The one who understands after many births and deaths that Krishna is the Supreme, Vasudev, Krishna is everything. Engages in devotional service. Sometimes they come and they go, oh, Krishna willing, if Krishna wants. Well, Krishna does want. He wants you to engage in his devotional service, right? Sometimes they say that, the Indians. Oh, if Krishna wants me to give a donation, I'll give a donation. If Krishna wants me to come and do some service, I'll do some service. Well, he does. They use this as an excuse. What do they want? A letter or something? A text? What do they want? In the heart? Like what is that? Publishers Clearinghouse, they want someone to show up at the front door, balloons and a big letter from Krishna. Hey, he wants you to engage in his devotional service. Oh, okay, now I will. And Krishna willed. Krishna has willed it. Like that. Krishna is saying over and over again, this is it. This is the devotion. This is the process. So, and it's not sentimental because it's described here. I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the supreme soul of all souls. And in the end of the purport, Prabhupada is saying that he's perfectly competent to deliver one from the cycle of birth and death. There's an analogy given, I think, by Prahlad Maharaj, that if you take shelter of something in the material world, it's like you're in the water and you see a dog swim by with its curved tail, and you grab onto the tail of the dog thinking you can cross the ocean with him. Yeah, for about 2 seconds. Like that, right? It's not going to work. You sink. But you think, oh, I'll grab on. Like that. There's so many different examples given. Thinking, oh, this will actually save me. Nothing will save us, materially or spiritually. But Krishna is completely competent. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of all living entities. And this is his material world. He's the one who's created the cycle of birth and death. Don't you think he can get you out? It's his creation. He knows exactly how you got yourself in this mess and how to get out. It's probably before most of your time, but there used to be a cartoon when I was a little kid. And some professor or something, this is turtle, always got himself in trouble. He says, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, time for this one to come home. There's some remember that one? Yeah, he always like did something stupid, and then the wizard, there was a wizard and so on, he used to always bring him a Tweedledee, time for this one to come home. And he got himself in a mess. So we got ourselves in a big mess, but Krishna knows exactly how to get us out. All we have to do is ask. That's it. And now the next purport, the lengthy verse and so on, about this becoming a kinchana and not having any plans for this material world and so on, that's the secret. But Krishna's there, he's equal to all, and he's completely competent within a moment to deliver not just us, but the whole universe. Just like the conversation of Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying the whole universe was delivered. The whole universe was delivered when Krishna came. The whole universe was delivered when Chaitanya, and the non-moving, move up. So Krishna can deliver the whole material world. He wants to. Why not? It's his divine energy. Do what he likes. But he doesn't, because he doesn't want to interfere with our free will. Right there. Our free will. So. And he says here, this verse quote, the Samaham Sarvabhuteshu verse, that Krishna is equal to everyone, but he's especially inclined towards his devotees. He's very inclined to devotees, to help the devotees and so on. You get that out of this material world. So it says here, he's especially inclined by the grace of the Lord. Simply by surrendering unto him, one can get out of the cycle of birth and death. That's all. Simple process of devotional service. Like that. Because we're daily acting on the liberated platform, we're safe. We're completely safe. But as soon as we stop, our mind and body drift off that, then, what is it? Smriti Vibhrama. I was listening to this, that verse about how you, Jayato Vishaya Pumsa, that succession going into Maya. Smriti Vibhrama means your smriti wanders off. Like wandering. You wander, you don't really know where you're going. Hey, so-and-so is just wandering around. Sometimes we have people like that. We have to ask them to leave the temple. They kind of wander in here, and they have to have some wander out, right? They don't know where they're going, and they just, they're just wandering. They have no clue. So that when the intelligence, memory just wander away, like that, we have to be careful of that. Like that. So stay on track. As long as we're on track, we're safe. Like that. We're acting on that platform. So it's 8:30. Questions?
First of all, I'd like to hail Krishna. So since you're a learned Purohita, I was wondering, so there are many verses in the Vedas that do seem to describe impersonal as being supreme, but my understanding, of course you would know, is that the four Vedas, they describe different sacrifices to different demigods, but Vishnu is always, from what I've heard, the main benefactor of all these demigod sacrifices.
Yes.
That's correct.
It's a few things. The first point you made, I heard this recently, one Maharaj was explaining how many millions of verses there are in the Vedas, hundreds of thousands, and then they broke it up to how many are karma kanda, which is like about 90%, and then about 8% jnana kanda, and then about 3% bhakti. Why is that? Because it reflects the conditioned souls, their inclination. Most people are fully into karma kanda, so that's why most of the verses are there. Very small percentage are interested in liberation, and a very even small are bhakti. So it's not the number, the quantity of verses, it's the quality of the verses. So we have to understand that just because most of the verses in the Vedas are about going to the heavenly planets and piety and Dharma Shastra, doesn't mean that that's the highest goal of life. It just means it's accommodating the majority of people, human beings, are all absorbed, at least get them engaged in karma kanda.
This is the Vedas. You're talking about the
Yeah. But I mean, he mentioned even like Puranas, like Upanishads are compared to all the Vedas, it's like smaller and smaller and smaller, but he's making the point that why is that? Does that mean because that's the highest? No, it's just because people's inclination. His writing, and that's why Narada Muni was upset with Vyasadeva. He wrote all these Vedic literatures, all this stuff about karma kanda, jnana kanda. He said, when are you going to describe pure devotional service? And that's why he was despondent. And there you have the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad literatures. It's in comparison, in numbers, it's a lot less, but it's the real thing. It's the ultimate highest knowledge. And then as far as, yes, whenever there's Jagya, there's supposed to be Vishnu there, Shalagram, or a deity. And whenever because, just to teach them, sooner or later they'll kind of, oh yeah, that's right, I'm offering everything first to Vishnu, then going on with everything else. And yeah. But it's the example is given just like the meat eater is supposed to recite that verse in the ear of the goat before he kills it. Because sooner or later he's going to say, I've been saying my next life you're going to kill me. Maybe I should think about this meat eating. Sooner or later they think. So these things are put in there. I mean, it's not just to make them think. It's true. Mayaiva vihitanitan. The Supreme Lord says, whatever these devatas can give you, I'm really giving you. They're my servants. How can my servant give you something I'm not giving you? I'm the master. So it's helped them gradually to understand the proper situation. Yes, another one.
So if Vishnu is the main benefactor of like every single yoga described in the four Vedas, then how do the Shaivas and the Shaktas understand that? Because they think, the Shaivas think Shiva is supreme, the Shaktas think Shakti is supreme, so how do they explain that away?
They can't. So let's not talk about it. Right? But also in many of their scriptures, those deities are glorified in such a way where one thinks, oh, they are supreme. Or they waffle on the whole thing that they're all one. That's the way to get, sometimes I do ceremonies and I ask people, who's your Ishtadev? What form of the Lord do you worship the most? And they go, oh, I don't have any favorite one. They're all the same. I said, no, they're not. I said, or they'll say Lord Shiva, or they'll say Satya Sai Baba, something like that. So no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking what form of the Supreme Lord? Like Krishna, Vishnu, Ram, Narayan, the Supreme Lord. What form? And then they'll say something. But they haven't a clue to what's going on. Not a clue. Because that's what they're told. Everyone. Yeah, it's the what do you call it? Shopping? What do you call it? The grocery store or something like that mentality. You got a little something of everyone, like that. Or it's also called the smoothie. A little of everything in there, just blend it all up. One-stop shopping.
One good thing, since Srila Prabhupada has translated the common Bhagavad Gita and distributed it throughout the world, especially in India, I heard from the devotees who are in India that a lot of course, those ideas are still, radiant, but a lot of it's gone away actually, because people are getting so much from Prabhupada.
Yes.
Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada just cut away at the personalism, demigod worship, or understanding.
Yeah, it's making an impact. And this is just the beginning. We're in the beginning stages of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Prabhupada doesn't, a lot of Bhagavad Gita and so many books, he's gone away. He's going for that, And if you can imagine people, all those books going out in India, thousands of young people, all the people they're reading that, that's the land of demigod worship, that's the land of personalism. So you can imagine that, Prabhupada smashing all this. Here in America, it's like, well, demigod